The most important thing is that you have a vision, that you have a goal. Because without that vision and without that goal, again, you're drifting around and you're never gonna end up anywhere. People don't become successful just by accident.
You're gonna get your ass kicked, we're gonna get the shit kicked out of us. You gotta get up, you gotta have faith that the one thing you wanted to happen oftentimes is the best thing that never happened. So have faith, just keep that in mind, keep plugging away.
Never accept the limitations of someone else. Somebody told you that it's impossible. Don't even try. Give up before you even fucking try it for yourself. Never accept the goddamn limitation that someone else has placed upon you.
And now, FitnessInformant.com presents the Iron Union Podcast. Let's go.
Going on already? Welcome inside the Iron Union Podcast. I am Fitness Informant founder and CEO Ryan Buckeye. Excited AF for this podcast. And I've said it on social media. I say it to start the podcast with Sharon, Mrs. Leite, CEO of the Vitamin Shoppe. She's unbelievable, just an unbelievable human being. And I think that's what I appreciate most. What she did for Vitamin Shoppe, turning that ship around, is remarkable, her and her team. But she's a good human being. I mean, to take time out of her busy schedule to show appreciation for myself, for Fit Butters, because we're obviously in all the vitamin shops now, is absolutely insane. And for me, being a branding and marketing geek guru specialist, yeah, talking to Jay Cutler is great. Talking to Ronnie Coleman is great. I'm not a professional bodybuilder. I'm a professional marketer. I'm a professional businessman, person, and a guy with 2 daughters. And to speak with a female CEO in the boys club of sports nutrition and vitamins and minerals was awesome. I took a lot away. I think she is just a very personable, good human being. And if you have not been to a vitamin shop lately, I'd recommend you go. You can pick up, obviously, Fit Butters. It's available now in over 720 Vitamin Shoppe locations. Ghost Energy, Outright Bar, Planta. I mean, we could talk all day about cool brands that they carry, but really it's just a story and a conversation with the future of Vitamin Shoppe, how they were able to turn around some of the strategic alliances that they are doing with the brand, and how they navigated through the pandemic. And we talk about pivoting, which was a big thing that obviously that I focused on in my life. I pivoted in my personal life, I pivoted in my professional life, and here we are. So it's cool. It gives you guys a glimpse into the world of retail, which many of you don't see or maybe you don't care to see, and that's okay too. But it's a story, a conversation about a good human being and how she got to the position that she's at through working her ass off, doing the right thing, not taking shortcuts, and talking about the legacy that they want to leave behind in terms of the Vitamin Shoppe, and they want to become a household brand name, and I think they're definitely going to be. There are brands that are launching in Vitamin Shoppe this summer that you all are going to be like, wow, this retailer is making moves, and it's really, really exciting stuff. Again, I'm just going to throw a cheap plug in there for me. Vitamin Shoppe now carries Fit Butters at all 720 plus Vitamin Shoppe locations nationwide. VitaminShoppe.com, free shipping over $25. The best way to support me and this brand is to vote with your dollars. They have the exclusive banana maple French toast using the Planta protein, which is probably the best tasting nut butter on the planet, honestly. Sharon even alludes to it on the podcast. So hope you guys enjoy this podcast. Sharon Leite, CEO of Vitamin Shoppe, just a smart, educated, well put together human being. And in a world in which we are surrounded by so much negativity, it is refreshing to speak and have a conversation with somebody who cares. Ladies and gentlemen, CEO of Vitamin Shoppe, Sharon Leite.
Adding my product is going to help you get to where you want to be.
5%ers is 5% of the people in the world that are willing to do whatever it takes to reach their goals. We're talking about business, success, education, willing to do whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
For the last 2 decades, we have been the best kept secret of the supplement industry. We've kept our heads down and worked. We pioneered full label transparency and full therapeutic doses because we believe that truly hard work requires truly effective tools. 2 decades is a long time to commit to one pursuit, but when you act with purpose and become centered in yourself, eventually you realize that you were born and bred for this. things you once thought impossible, you now do every day. We don't like the easy way, it just doesn't feel right. We'll take the long, hard road over a shortcut any day. It takes longer, sure, but in the end, you know you earned it. And with the right team behind you, pushing yourself further than you've ever been would be just another afternoon doing what you love most.
We're back inside the Iron Union podcast. I'm excited about this one. And I've said this a lot, Sharon. I've had 4-time Mr. Olympia, Jay Cutler. I've had 8-time Mr. Olympia, Ronnie Coleman. Like, I've had all these big names in the fitness world. This is the podcast that I'm looking forward to the most because I'm a marketing and branding nerd. I'm a business nerd. And for those of you who maybe don't know who's on the podcast today, Sharon Leite, CEO, Vitamin Shoppe. Welcome in.
Thanks, Ryan. It's really great to be here with you.
Thank you. First off, I have 2 daughters. So this has been kind of a cool year for me because I don't care what side of the political spectrum you fall on. Seeing a VP be a female and Kamala Harris, I told my daughter who's 3, I said, see, you could be anything you want to be. And I let her know that I was talking to you today, and she doesn't grasp everything yet, but she definitely gets like the woman power thing. And I think it's great. So what I think is awesome is my buddies and I talk about the sports nutrition vitamin world as it's kind of like a boys club. And you're the queen of the boys club, and you came in 18. And like, how does it feel, I guess, to be a woman in leadership, a CEO of a major retail operation, domestically, foreign, in a space that's predominantly dominated by men?
Yeah. Well, look, as I've gotten to know the community a little bit more, and I have much to do because I'm kind of 18 months behind because we haven't been out to be able to be in events or to be able to meet and see others. But, at the core of everything, it's about people, and it's about helping others. And for us, it's about our customer. And we believe, and I believe, that when you have the opportunity to be with people, you put your best foot forward, you build a great team to support the customer. And, one of the things I think you've heard me talk about is I'm very, very involved in what's going on with our customer, what the needs of our customer are, and then how do we pick partners, regardless of whether they're male or female, to be and deliver what we need for our community, our customer, which, by the way, for us, is pretty evenly split, male and female. And in our business, I just want to make sure that we do the absolute best thing we can for our customer. And I'm just, terrific. I'm grateful that I have the opportunity, and it's a terrific opportunity to be here. You mentioned your customer, your demographic is split male, female. What I've noticed from my local vitamin shops is the age range is across the board, like anywhere from somebody who could be my grandmother walking in and getting her vitamins and minerals to a teenager looking to get creatine for the first time. I mean, that's cool and very unique because you don't see that very often. How do you cater to all the different demographics? It's hard. It's very hard because your marketing dollars don't quite spread as far as you'd like them to. But it's also a wonderful opportunity because there is no other retailer that does what we do that reaches that many consumers. And so we want to make sure, again, we talk about lifetime wellness starts here, is how do we bring the customer that is that teenager or that young person into our business and kind of have them be part of our community for life. Right. And what we see often in our business is that the younger consumer is very focused on the sports nutrition side of the business, but then they transition because they become moms and dads, or they're taking care of parents or kids. And then they kind of move into the other side of the business, which is obviously the nutritional and the supplement side of the business. Sure. And what we're seeing today, with what's happened with our current environment with the pandemic and everything, is now we're actually seeing the sports nutrition consumer actually more interested in the vitamin, mineral, and supplement space because they realize that it's about holistic health. And so that's very exciting. So if we can be the place to help educate and help customers, again, be with us for life, that's really what our focus is on.
I think if anything out of the pandemic, the silver lining is that our focus shifted. It's not just about pre-workouts and intra workouts, but it's about holistic health, because obviously the stats show that COVID impacted, elderly and the obese population more than anybody. So for us to take care of our overall health and wellness, I think is huge. And like, talk to me about 2020 and that year it was, because we know retailers like Amazon thrived and killed it because nobody left their house. You guys did fairly well as well, right? I mean, from when you could be open, I know for a while, but when gyms closed, I think maybe there was probably a hit, but how did you guys weather the storm, and what were those conversations like inside those walls, and say, like, what do we do?
Yeah, well, when the pandemic hit in the spring, obviously we also had to close. We had reduced hours. We weren't closed everywhere, but we did have a fair number of stores closed on the onset of the pandemic, and our hours of operations were reduced significantly. But we pivoted fast. One of the things I'm really proud of our team at the Vitamin Shoppe is we've become much more agile and nimble in our ability to speed to market. And part of that is our technology and the way we think about digital. The organization pivoted very quickly to make sure we were able to be where the customer needed us to be. And so our online business expanded, no different than everybody else's, but there were enhancements that we had invested in the year that I got here, because we were so far behind on the digital side of things. And so we made a tremendous amount of investment. And those investments paid off, thank goodness, so that we were able to deliver. And then we pivoted even further and faster around buy online, pick up in store, curbside delivery. We launched Instacart. We, again, wanted to make sure that we could be where the customer was, and we did everything we can to speed up our fulfillment in the supply chain. So again, when customers are used to getting their Prime order in a day or 2 days later, we needed to be able to compete with that. So how could we do that? So that was a big part of what we did. But I got to tell you, I think any organization that made it through, in particular that stretch of time, it was a focus on making sure that you kept your people safe and healthy. The people had to be at the forefront, because there's so much we didn't know during that time.
Yeah, right.
And so how do you create an environment to make sure that people feel like they can count on you?
Yeah.
And so that's what we really tried to focus on. And we tried to adjust and adapt just as quick as we possibly could. And we made it through, and we're really grateful that we got to meet new customers that we've been able to keep. And now we can kind of continue on and help them. And certainly we're seeing that on the fitness side of the house, whereas people realize that, maybe I was in the house a little bit too long, and it's time for me to get out there and get active again. And so we're grateful that we were there for their wellness needs around immune. And now we can pivot again to continue to take care of their wellness needs around vitamin, minerals, and supplements, but then also move them over to the sports nutrition side of the business as they, start getting back into the gym and getting inside.
It's great that you mentioned that. 2 years ago, Josh Hall and I would do a podcast, and we talked about, I would go to Walmart, and I know when I was at General Mills, some of that technology that Walmart was investing was paying off big time in terms of specifically customer pickup at the store. You guys at that time, I don't think had it enacted yet. So I think we talked about, like, there's got to be a way Vitamin Shoppe can do local deliveries with their hubs, and that's Instacart. And there's got to be a way they can do in-store pickup. And you guys did all that. And you just mentioned it paid off. But I think you're right. You're going against Amazon, where you get your package in a day. Customers don't want to pay shipping. So vitaminshoppe.com, it's free shipping over $25. Not hard to get that threshold, right? But you also mentioned, like, when you came in, you guys were behind. You came in, I believe, fall of 2018, around that area?
Yep, sure did.
You came into a messy situation, maybe, or a situation that needed a lot of help. And I know, talking to other brands in the space, they've always said, like, Vitamin Shoppe has a specific culture versus the other guys. And the other guys are just, like, not the culture that a lot of people love. But what did you think going into that situation? Like, you had to turn this ship around. Like, Vitamin Shoppe, for what it's worth, was the Titanic, and you avoided the iceberg. So that's kudos to you and the entire team that you put together. But how difficult was that to actually do that shift?
Well, the first thing I did when I joined the organization was I actually worked in a store. And it was important for me to learn from the customer perspective what was happening in our business. And unlike you, I don't come from this space. Sure. I mean, I've sold everything from blue jeans to t-shirts to chocolate to furniture. to beauty products.
Right.
Where you're the kind of the marketing consumer products, I'm the retail marketing sales junkie. I love customers and I love to sell them things that are relevant to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big student of the customer. And so it was important for me to learn the business, but from the customer's perspective, not from being told what we did and what we always did and why we did the things. Quite frankly, it doesn't matter, because if the customer doesn't understand it, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I found in the business was we didn't know our customer, and I found the category. The category is complicated. The category it's a lot. And when you've got 8,000 SKUs in a store and you look at this wall of all this stuff, and it's like, what is all of this? So I really wanted to get really close to the customer. And when I talk about customer, I talk about the internal customer, which is our associates, our health enthusiasts, and our external customer, which is the paying public. And I really felt that it was important to demystify this category, to demystify the experience. And so I think you've seen our Edgewater store, which was our prototype store, where the layout of the store is much simpler. And we've added education in the store to help the customer experience. I am a firm believer that you always take care of what the customer comes in for first, and you educate your associates to be able to deliver that experience. And I'm incredibly proud of our health enthusiasts and how they genuinely want to help. And one of the things we had to do was we had to figure out, what is the Vitamin Shoppe brand? Is it a brand, or is it a collection of other people's brands that, by the way, happens to be in this store that's been around and been very successful since 1977. But we had to stand for something. So the first thing, after I learned as much as I could from the organization and from external customers, was we went to work on what is that brand story, so that we could have a story to tell. And I hope our customers, I think they have, and I think you have seen this storytelling and this level of education. So even on social media, you don't see us talk about the percentage off. You see us talk about, there's a little bit of education, but maybe with a wink. You know, it's a little, it's not too tongue in cheek, but it's a little bit of a wink. And it's about education, and it's about influencers and people that are experts in this space, because for us to compete against an Amazon and for us to stand out in this space, there has to be a reason why the customer wants to make a special trip to the Vitamin Shoppe. And what is about the product, like the product that you guys have developed, you know, that is unique and different. That puts the special into specialty. And when you think about specialty retailing, there aren't a lot of us. And so how do we make that experience unique, different, but at the core of everything, it has to be right for the customer.
Yeah. And I will say, I mean, from a consumer standpoint, there's not a retail outlet that is more inviting than the Vitamin Shoppe store to me. It's well lit. It's always clean. When I walk into the other guys, it's cluttered, it's tight. And the associates, like you call them health enthusiasts, and it's great because the store manager at my local Vitamin Shoppe, I mean, she's probably in her mid 50s, but she is so damn happy all the time and so smart and inviting. And then I walk into the other guys and it's me, it's a gym bro. I mean, I'm not the person, granted, I'm very nice and personal, but some of those folks just don't, they sit there on their cell phones. And so there's definitely a difference in environment, which I think is kudos to like what you guys are building across the network. And I'm curious because now you guys are rolling out the franchise model, and I don't know like when that's going to be full fledged, but then you don't, and maybe you do, but like in terms of the hiring process, that might change a bit, right? That local store franchisee gets to follow suit. So is there any hesitation to the franchise model? Are you guys like super stoked about it? Like what's that looking like right now?
So here's the way I feel about it. I'm excited about the opportunity to bring the Vitamin Shoppe into local communities, and for somebody as the franchisee to be able to bring the Vitamin Shoppe into the business. So we have just recently announced that. I'm excited to say that two of in particular that are franchisees that are very interested in opening a Vitamin Shoppe are actually either current associates or ex-associates of the Vitamin Shoppe.
Awesome.
And I think the core about the franchise model that's maybe unique to us about who we want to be a franchisee is you have to love what we do, and you have to love what we're doing. And so I'm actually talking to right now, every franchisee that's really interested to make sure that they can deliver everything that we've worked so hard on the last 2.5 years to the local communities that they'll serve. And the other thing that's very different about our model is we are on a quest to deliver the exact same model when it comes to omni-channel in a franchise model that you get in a company store. No one does that today. No one does buy online, pick up in store like we're going to do. No one's does click and collect like we're going to do. So the full ensuite of all this digital work that we've done and the technology that we put in store, we are putting that into the franchise model because what's really, really important is the customer can't tell the difference.
Right.
It's really important that, because as you know, so many of our 85% of our customers start their journey on a mobile device.
Sure.
And they don't care that it's a franchise Vitamin Shoppe or a company-owned franchise. What we want them to do is buy our products, your products, our products collectively.
Right.
And it doesn't matter who owns the store.
Right.
And so when you use that as a filter and you expect that, and it's really about building that into your core business, I do believe it will be very successful because we'll be able to reach more consumers.
Right.
I don't see today, we're still learning, we're at the beginning of this journey. I don't see that we'll have as many stores as maybe the other competitor because we want to keep our stores, first of all, we want to keep the volumes at a certain level because we know that's what makes us successful. We want to make sure we have the expansion, the expanded inventory because that helps us be successful. But most importantly, we want to make sure that the customer gets the same experience, especially on all the digital enhancements we've made, that it's very connected, that the franchisee gets credit for those sales too. So I think that that's a really important differentiator because that doesn't happen in other specialty retailers, which is why specialty retailer really probably haven't gotten into this space because it's a lot harder than it looks.
I'm sure it's not easy. Yeah.
I mean, I want to make sure that today, if we don't fix our systems the way it needs to, a franchisee can't get inventory the way their systems are built. It can go to a company store, but it doesn't break off. So there's a lot of systemic things behind the scene, the plumbing and the electrical that needs to be done to build the house that you don't see that has to work to make this successful. And we want to do everything we can to make sure that the franchisee feels like they're a part of the team that we're building here at the Vitamin.
That's awesome. That's cool. A trend too lately now is like these pop-up stores within a store, right? The other guys just announced what they're doing. We see it with like DSW and Hy-Vee. Coach did it with like Macy's. I mean, there's a lot of things. Is that something of interest to the Vitamin Shoppe, say of like a Vitamin Shoppe Target collaboration or along those lines? I mean, it's sort of new age, especially for the sports nutrition vitamin world. But has that been anything that you guys have ever thought about, considered?
Well, we did it. Unfortunately, the timing was bad. We put some shop within shops in a local gym, in some of the local gyms.
That's right. Yes. Yep. Okay.
And unfortunately, the pandemic hit and the gyms closed. So it was the right idea. Timing was not quite what we had hoped it to be, but absolutely. Again, if you go back to the fundamental comment about be where the customer is. And what value can you bring to that customer? That's where we want to be. We want to, we know that our brand awareness is not where it needs to be. We're working on that. But again, we didn't really consider ourselves a brand until 2.5 years ago. So we've got a lot of catching up to do in that regard, which is why, I'll show up wherever I can show up in terms of events. I'm excited to get out and meet people again, which is why I'm pretty active socially, because I want people to know. I want people to know the great partners that we have, such as yourself and others, as well as the things that we're doing internally in the organization as well, again, to support our customers and the communities that we serve.
Give me a second, I'm trying to select the appropriate weapon. Watch who you stepping, them snakes all around, you know they connected. So count your days, hold up, let me count the ways you gon' pay. When I spot you, I'm coming straight through to your face, no foreplay. Coming alive. Heat of the night. Now is the time. Don't try to hide.
There's definitely a buzz, I think, about Vitamin Shoppe. I mean, and I think it has a lot to do with the changes that you've made, some of the new brands that you're bringing in. So I want to talk a little bit about that. So we obviously work a lot on the brand side. For a long time, Vitamin Shoppe was strictly legacy, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with having a wall of Muscle Tech, Optimum. They have their place. They have done a ton for the industry. But now, like, you walk in, you can see this brand in the store. You can see Outright Bar, Planta, like all these new exciting brands. I know you have some coming in July that I can't speak about, but we know about, but like some big stuff. Very, very exciting stuff. So when it comes down to product selection, you guys are being pitched every day or get new ideas thrown at you every day. How do you vet that out with everything out there? And how do you determine what's cool and what's going to work?
Yeah. So I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it goes back. You have to know your customer. You have to know not only who you are, but you also have to know what you're not.
Yep.
And you also need to know what you want to go get.
Yeah.
And we have a clear understanding of what we want to go get and how we want to keep people in our ecosystem and continue to build that loyalty. But the thing about our business that's really important, and I don't know that the Vitamin Shoppe has thought about it this way, and that's kind of more of my background, it's about fashion. So when I think about a lot of the sports nutrition side of the house, it is a lot about what's hip, what's new, what's cool, what's the ingredient, and what's the story you can tell about an ingredient that's hip. Like, look what happened with chlorophyll on TikTok. I mean, it just took off. Who would have thought?
Right.
So there are things that happen in our industry. And for me, it's about making sure you're on trend. Yeah. So there is what I would call the day job or the bread and butter. You know, I can't be out of a multivitamin. I can't be out of vitamin C. I can't be out of, the kind of the core business. But there's this fashion element of the business, and it's fast and it's quick, and you have to be able to get on trends. And when you come into the business like I did, and it said, 6 to 9 months before we can put it on the shelf, that doesn't work. I'm used to, I grew up in this business in more on the fashion apparel side. And if we saw a hot trend over in Europe or wherever in the globe, like I had to have it on the shelves and I had a very, very short window to sell it, and I had to be out.
Right.
And I think that's the other thing that's probably different in the way we think about the merchandising in our space as well, is that there will be some times when things are going to come in and they're going to come out. And it is about making sure that we get the best brands, always standing for quality. So I want to make sure that's a real fundamental component, and we will not sacrifice on quality. We believe very strongly in the quality of the products that we carry at the Vitamin Shoppe. That is first and foremost. I mean, this is an ingestible product, most of the products we carry. And so we take quality exceptionally. So that, more than anything, has to be what it meets our standards on the quality. But it's all about the customer. How do you make sure that you have what they need? But how do you set the trends? And I'm excited that some of the products that we're bringing in, we're actually now setting some of the trends because we're able to get it on the shelf faster than we ever have in the past.
Yeah, and I can vouch, like the vetting process to get into Vitamin Shoppe, it's not just a cakewalk. I mean, you go through some stuff, right? And you should obviously know what it is that you're putting in there, because it is a product that you're putting into your body. And especially like on the sports nutrition side, I mean, by DSHEA, they're not technically drugs, but I mean, they make an impact on your body like maybe a drug would. So you have to obviously be careful on those things. Sharon, tell me about your childhood. I'm interested. Like when you were young, what did you want to be? I mean, I don't know if CEO was on the list. If my daughter wants to be a doctor or a princess, but like, what did you strive, or what was like the vision for you?
Well, if you really want to know, when I was a younger kid, I actually was a figure skater, and I wanted to be a professional figure skater. So when other people were in sports and doing other things, I was doing laybacks and double flips and things like that. So I really enjoyed.
Extremely difficult. So I would fall on my ass. I played hockey, but like the figure skating skates, I tried to wear those once too. I was like, not for me. Not so. Kudos. Like, tough stuff.
Yeah. So I did that. But honestly, I always knew that I wanted to be with people. I used to sing, and I was a musical theater. So, I tried to, loved that. But when I started going to school, I loved business. I absolutely loved business. And after I graduated from college, I actually fell into retail. And that's when I started working for Express. When Express was in its very early days. And I fell in love with the customer. I fell in love with fashion. I fell in love with having somebody come in and helping them feel special and feel good when they walked out with the latest outfit, and
Right.
how they had that instant gratification about, oh gosh, I'm going to look great on my date, Saturday night. And then it kind of snowballed. And I'm just, again, really grateful that I've had the good fortune to work for some wonderful, wonderful branded companies where I kind of got my chops on branding and customer, and doing something unique in the marketplace at those particular moments in time. And then, for me, one of the things that always motivates me more than anything is the teams that you get to work with. I've always been a people leader. I love working with, with building a team and great people that not only work hard, but play hard.
Yeah.
And that really are driven by, being successful and helping one another succeed. And I took some risks, so you mentioned your daughter. I would, tell her to not to be scared, and to ask for what she wants, and to take an occasional risk every once in a while. And it does mean that I moved all over the country. I call myself a little bit of a retail gypsy. I've lived all over the United States. But I'm also grateful for those experiences because of the things I learned and the people I met along the way.
Yeah. I mean, well, you have to take, like, I left corporate America to do my side hustle, and it paid off, thank God. But I mean, it's those things that you walk away from. And I'm sure you've left jobs, well-paying jobs, really, really well established, to like the Vitamin Shoppe thing, a brand new venture. Like, you didn't know, well, maybe you knew it was going to be successful because you believed in yourself, but who knows? Like, a pandemic could have hit back in 18 and really, took you off the rails. But how do you balance? Because you're CEO of Vitamin Shoppe, you're on the board of multiple things. You're a mom, you're a family leader. Like, how do you find that? That's the biggest thing for me. It's like running two businesses, having two children, being a husband. I find that job more interesting, trying to balance everything in my life. So do you live out of your calendar, or what do you do to essentially make sure that you're the best at everything that you do? Because some people have a hard time being the best mom or being the best CEO because they don't have a great, but I would, somebody in your situation, you're probably very good at time management and balancing, but did you struggle with that as you took on more responsibility?
Ryan, I still struggle with it. I think that anybody that tells you they have it all figured out, I want their secret.
Right.
But I think, for me, work and my personal life are very blended. I'm a firm believer in love what you do and you never work a day in your life. And so if you really enjoy what you do, it doesn't feel like work. And I mean, I see you out, with your family, and it's just kind of who you are. And I think if you have a job that is about who you are, I think that makes it a lot easier, because it's not as draining when you're energized by the people you get to spend your time with. But I am really kind of boring. I go to bed on the early side at night, but I'm up at the crack of dawn.
Yep.
And I use that time in the morning when it's quiet and people aren't pinging me with whatever. And, I grab a cup of my coffee pot goes off at 5:30, and, it's already there for me. And I sit and I kind of think, and I kind of plan my day, and it's kind of my focus time where it's my time. I guess it's me time. And that's how I organize and kind of think through, what I need to do. But I also know when I have a limit, and I get to a point where I'm like, okay, I need a break. And I've gotten better as I've gotten older, and kind of saying, I really need these 4 hours to just go somewhere, or, not be on my phone for a little bit and try to do that. But you know what? I still haven't figured it out. I'm all about self-improvement. So if anybody has some tips for me, I'd be happy to listen.
Besides work, besides family, like, what's a hobby of yours? Do you take time for yourself to do something, whether it's read a half hour a day or whatever? Do you have any, like, for me, it's the gym. The gym's my outlet. I do that in the morning at 4 a.m. I love it. I'd love to travel more, but I don't have time to do it. So like, what do you do to keep yourself sane?
Yeah. So I'm into yoga. I actually really enjoy, there's a yoga studio not too far from my house here in Texas that I go to on a regular basis. It's hot yoga. And I really use that, to kind of center myself every once in a while. And I'm also at the gym, not as often as you are, but I really do enjoy getting to the gym a couple times a week, in addition to my yoga. And I enjoy really being with a very tight circle of, friends and family. I draw a lot of energy from being with the people that I'm closest to. I do love to travel. If there's a work trip and I can kind of tie in a weekend or something, I'll try to get something else in. I absolutely can't wait till the theater reopens in New York. I also live in New York City. I'm very excited for September to come because I'm an avid theater concert goer. I really enjoy doing those kinds of things because I love all kinds of music and everything from classic to, classical to rock music and things of that nature. Just enjoying life and experiencing things I draw great energy from, and learning. Learning is really important to me. I read a lot. And so just, try to learn as much as I can so that I can help the organization and be as successful as it can be.
Talk to me about some strategic alignment and partnerships. You guys did Weight Watchers. You had a good strategic partnership there. But I'm looking at other things that we've seen in this space. I know, like, you come from the fashion world. So Lululemon, I believe, was Mirror, right? There was an acquisition there, get all that consumer data. A lot of cool, like, unique things. Like, there's a Pelotons out there in the world, and these tonals. I mean, there's all this new technology. When it comes to what you guys do, is there an opportunity for you to partner with a Peloton, partner with some of these at-home technologies that are growing in popularity because of the pandemic and because people buy them and realize, like, look, this is convenient. I can walk 12 steps downstairs, hop on my Peloton, which Peloton's great, by the way. I give them all the credit in the world. Fantastic. But I think those things are so unique, plus all the consumer data that you can obtain from a alignment, partnership, purchase standpoint. Anything that you can talk about or that you've looked at out there that are mesmerized by or influenced by?
I think we're on a journey to figure that out because I do agree with you. There is more there. And I do think there's going to continue to be consolidation in our industry. I think that, so we'll evaluate those opportunities as they come available. But we did just also announce a partnership with Ironman.
Okay, I saw that. That's right. Yep.
And we are going to be the supplement retailer partner for the Ironman here in the States, and getting involved with that organization. So I guess, again, I'm going to be a broken record. I go back to the customer.
Yep.
Weight Watchers works because we had a very clear customer, and we have shared values and alignment with what Mindy Grossman is doing at WW around nutrition. And the importance of nutrition, and everyone is entitled to have nutrition. And so that there is a synergy around their customer, our customer, and what that could be. So that's a great partnership, and I'm excited about how that will continue to grow in our health and being a part of the Healthy Living Coalition on that. Ironman that's elite athletes. So those are and it becomes their life. And it's how, and you know this better than anybody, about the effort and the work and the mental capacity that you need to be an Ironman. And so we're excited to meet that customer of an elite athlete, which is newer for us. Because the sports nutrition side of the business is a new muscle for us to build. And so Ironman is a great example. I mean, when you brand an Ironman tattoo, those are loyalists. Those are real loyalists to that brand. And so that's a great opportunity. So we will continue to make sure, again, looking at who our customer is and what synergies and what partnerships make sense. We absolutely are interested in doing more of that because, again, our mission is that lifelong wellness starts here at the Vitamin Shoppe. And if that's the case, we want to make sure that we can meet the customer where they are at every stage of their life.
For sure. That's awesome. I'm going to pivot here as we round out the show here. I'm always curious, especially having some of your stature on the show, what is your social responsibility as a company? And in 2020, we saw so much awful stuff, weird stuff in our country, across borders. And it always brings up the question and arguments like, do you take a stance? Do you say something publicly? Because everybody has their own personal opinions. And a lot of times maybe they don't publicize them, and some do. Obviously, I'm in Minneapolis where the George Floyd thing happened, right? I mean, it was crazy here. But as a company and you're out there, like, what's that communication internally with your team saying, like, should we touch this? Should we stay away from it? Because you mentioned you have to be in tune with your customers and you have to be authentic to them. And I would imagine a lot of your customers also have a belief in everything that's going on. So are you torn, or do you guys have a stance saying, like, we're gonna participate and take a stance on something?
Yeah, we are very committed to social justice and equality and inclusion. We always have been. When you look at, while we haven't maybe been, waving the torch on it, we always have wanted to be a place where our associates loved where they came to work, and that they felt like they were included, and that they felt that they belonged. We feel that way about our external customer when they come in through the door. We don't want to discriminate. We want to make sure that we can be there to serve the community where we reside and online. So I think it's important for us to get involved and be engaged, but it's kind of like, through the election.
Yeah.
It wasn't about, Democrat, Republican. It wasn't about that. It was go vote. Go vote.
Right.
Make your voice heard, whatever that voice is for you.
Right.
So it's really about the action and the activity and getting involved, but everybody has their own opinion and everybody has very different belief systems, and it's our job, my job, I think, to make sure that we have a culture in the organization where those beliefs can be shared and be accepted. And because I do believe that the more inclusive of an organization that you have, the better for the customer and the better for business.
Yeah.
And that's just the way I lead. And I personally, back to, you asked me the question about your daughters. I personally have been discriminated against in my career. I mean, it is what it is. You kind of move forward, and you still move forward. And I just want to make sure that I want to make sure that we do what we can at the Vitamin Shoppe, but it's not about the event specifically around, what's happening in the inclusion, diversity space. It's really about, it has to be part of the fabric and the culture that you build, and it's just who you are.
Right.
And so we will continue to make sure that we support that. And then in terms of things like environmental and sustainability, and you hear a lot about ESG right now.
Yeah.
We absolutely need to do more when it comes to recycling, making sure that what we do is sustainable and kind of continue to help the environment, because, the facts are there that there has to be change there. And we're certainly putting those plans in place to do, and we'll do our part. We're not going to save the world. I wish we could, but we're not. Right. But we certainly want to be responsible citizens and do our part and contribute.
Last question for you here. There's a thing we call like BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal, right? Like, what do you see happening, or what do you envision happening 10 years from now for Vitamin Shoppe? Like, where do you want this company to be?
I want the Vitamin Shoppe to be a household name.
Simple. I mean, that includes, then I can stem off that, because internationally, you guys are doing stuff over there. I mean, how much? I
want the Vitamin Shoppe to be a household name.
It covers it all. That's perfect. No, it's good. I mean, I think it's great with, your expansion internationally, the franchise model, potentially partnering up again within stores. I mean, I think you've done an absolutely great job, and I'm only privy to the information you can read online. So I can only imagine all the stuff that went on behind closed doors, the trials, the tribulations, the struggles. I'm sure you've probably left the office, maybe in tears. I mean, just like exhausted from the day, but you've really done a fantastic job, to the point where like the Vitamin Shoppe is cool. I mean, it really, and that's what you were just kind of alluding to earlier, is people that I talk to in the space, when we speak about Vitamin Shoppe, in the past, it might've been like, oh, that's that vitamin company, right? Like they sold fish oil and minerals, but now it's like the place to go to get the cool hip brands, and you have more coming this summer. So it's gotta be exciting. It's gotta be super exciting, especially coming out of the pandemic now and seeing things, the ship revert itself and become more healthy. I mean, I wouldn't be able to contain myself. I'd be like jumping up for joy every single day.
Well, Ryan, thank you very much, but it takes a village. It really does. And it's easy to say, but it's a lot of work. And I'm very, very incredibly grateful to the team we have at the Vitamin Shoppe. I don't do this by myself.
Right.
I get the opportunity to speak with you, but I have just an unbelievable team that I couldn't be more proud of. And I also have a group of vendor partners, such as yourself, that are enjoyable to work with, and we learn from you. And every day. And so it is about again this community, and I'm grateful that we're able to be here in this moment. And I believe the future is very bright for the Vitamin Shoppe.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I appreciate everything. I mean, it's not very often. And for those listening or watching, like Sharon takes time on LinkedIn to comment on my stuff. And I was just like, okay, I'm essentially a nobody in this space. And then here's, the queen of the industry coming and commenting on my thing. And you tried the product and you provide feedback. And I'm grateful for that, because for me, it's like, I need everybody to be on board for this product to be successful, including the stores. And that's why I visit the stores and give them free product, because if they don't try it, they can't speak to it. So I think we'll kill it together. We're gonna have fun. I'm excited about all the new brands, everything that you're doing. So thank you so much for taking the time, coming on, giving us a little insight into your world, into the life of Vitamin Shoppe. And I think all good things are going to continue to go on.
Well, thank you for having me. And it's great to have you be a part of our team.
Leite, CEO of Vitamin Shoppe. Super cool for her to take time out of her busy schedule to join us here on the Iron Union podcast. If you like what you heard, hit that subscribe button. We're on iTunes, Spotify. You're listening on all major podcast platforms. If you're watching via YouTube, you can subscribe there as well and stay up to date with all the podcasts that we do here at the Iron Union. You can also stay up to date with product reviews, rankings, nutrition plans, workout routines, news, quick hits, so much more. And then fitnessinformant.com obviously is our website. Again, if you want to support Fit Butters and support the launch at Vitamin Shoppe, the best thing to do, vitaminshoppe.com, or head to your local Vitamin Shoppe. They do have the exclusive banana maple French toast featuring Planta Ambrosia Collective, the maple French toast protein, banana maple French toast protein. We killed the launch. And, for me, I'm going to end the podcast with a huge, sincere thank you and gratitude, because going into the launch, I wasn't sure how receptive this was going to be. And, we brought some innovation into a category which has been stagnant for a little bit. And, I think that they're excited about that. We have 5 flavors right now nationwide. At some point, hopefully we do more. But there's a good selection available at your local Vitamin Shoppe or vitaminshoppe.com, like I said, or any other retailer. You can use the store locator on our website. You can support the small brick and mortar. You can go to fitbutters.com as well. But I'm just grateful. I'm humble. I'm appreciative of the support that Sharon and her team has shown me as a person, as a brand. And that just doesn't happen, with any organization. So, again, grateful, humbled, thankful, blessed is, what I can say. So, it's fitbutters.com is the website again, or Vitamin Shoppe is free shipping over $25 on their website. For everybody out there, thank you so much for tuning in this week. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. She is an absolute queen. She's a rock star. Until next week, hang loose, be informed, live fit.